Bears fans, welcome in. First episode of the 85. I will be your host throughout the season, Cole Kmet. Should be a lot of fun, giving you guys a lot of insight into the locker room with teammates, things that are going on with the games, all those type of stuff. So it should be a lot of fun insight, and I got my friend here, Adam Hoge, to help me out along the way.
Well, I'm happy to be here. Should be a lot of fun. And, people always say I don't host enough podcasts, so we might as well add one more to the lineup. But, no, this is going to be great. The 85 with Cole Kmet, powered by Ankin Law. Injury law made personal. They're here to help. Visit ankinlaw.com to learn more. And I think what Bears fans are probably wondering, Cole, is, what is this? What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Why'd you want to do it? Because this is your show, man.
Yeah, well, after last season with you guys, I thought we had a lot of fun together. So I had a good time with that, kind of giving insight to the locker room from that perspective and just kind of giving our point of view. And I think that's really important. And I know you guys in the media all have your own point of view on things. And I think it's important that the player's perspective kind of gets out. And, I kind of want to be that relay of information in that regard. And to be able to make it kind of a full show for the season, I think seemed like a lot of fun to me. And we obviously got a lot going on right now with Hard Knocks and, the number one overall pick being now Caleb and all the influx of talent we just got. So I think it'll be an exciting year and, just want to be able to provide that insight all year long.
What I think is going to be really cool about the show is, not to take anything away from what we do in the media, but people are used to hearing people like me interview athletes. Hearing an athlete interview another athlete, a teammate interview a teammate, I think is going to be really cool. I mean, I think there's a guard that comes down a little bit. You guys can be a little bit more natural in some of these conversations. And I know we got DJ Moore on this first episode, which is going to be great. And, just hearing him talk about his contract extension, things like that, I think is going to be a lot of fun. Fans are going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's you just get a good perspective. I think when we're talking one-on-one, makes it more of like that locker room type feel. So I know not all guys love being in front of the camera and, maybe it's not the most natural thing, but I still think it's a lot of fun to get those guys on and talk from their experiences, what they've gone through in the league. And I think it'll just give good insight to Bears fans as to what us guys are like in the locker room and what we're like as people.
So this is a weekly show, so we're going to kind of look back at the week in review a little bit off the top of some of these episodes and then get into interviews and things like that. But first of all, it feels like we've been in camp for
years. No, it feels like forever. This is going way too long for me. But.
So even like jogging my own memory of the last week, but Hard Knocks debuted.
Yep.
So we're going to have to hit on that. DJ did sign that extension, which we saw in Hard Knocks as well. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, over the weekend, you guys went to Buffalo. And, yes, it's a preseason game, but looked pretty damn good in all three phases.
It looked good, yeah.
So where do you want to start?
Let's start with the preseason game. Let's do that. I know we're coming hot off of that. I'm sure everyone in Chicago is excited about what they saw, especially, from Caleb and, really exciting stuff. I guess looking back on it now, I think I'd like to say we'd like to put some points on the board touchdown-wise, finishing those two drives with 6 there. But I think overall, in terms of going out for the first time as a unit like that with a new offense coordinator, new quarterback, some new pieces up front, I thought we executed really well. Caleb did a really good job in the huddle and put some really good stuff on tape. Me and DJ got to be a little bit better in terms of securing the catch, and we'll make sure we get that done. But no, I thought it was good. It was cool to see us kind of us all come together, for those first couple drives, and then the rest of the boys kind of took over, and it was a pretty good beatdown. 33-6 there at the end, and the run game looked good. So a lot of good tape out there for everyone on the squad, and it was a lot of fun.
What was the most impressive thing that Caleb showed, not us, but you guys on the field?
Yeah, well, I guess anytime with a rookie, and now I've had my share of playing with a lot of different quarterbacks, is just the operation of that huddle, getting the line of scrimmage, cadence, making the right IDs. Those are all those things that maybe as fans you take for granted. You don't really recognize that the quarterback has to get done. And sometimes it's the pass that Caleb doesn't throw that is the most important decision he'll make, and checking it to the run when he needs to check it to a run. So. I thought he was really flawless in terms of making those right decisions, reading the defenses correctly, and obviously when that ball was snapped, you see the magic of what he's able to do, kind of take over. So it was cool to see. I mean, I thought the dump off to DeAndre Swift was pretty cool and pretty sweet to watch.
I love what he said post game. He's just like, yeah, I just saw the orange gloves.
Yeah,
Like,
he's so nonchalant at times. It's just crazy, and it's cool. He's locked in when he needs to be locked in, but he's a playmaker, man. He's a playmaker.
Well, I do think, like, especially at the quarterback position, it might sound like a little thing, like, oh, I just saw the gloves but he seems to have that sort of instinctual feel from the game that not everybody has. Even the long scramble he had, like, up the middle when the seas just kind of parted. The way he described that post game. He went in the whole detail of the play. They dropped a 2-man, and one guy went that way, and I was trying to get the roam vertically, and all of a sudden I saw the seas part, and I just took it.
Well, that's what's so great about Caleb. He's always looking to throw first. He doesn't like to run, and he'll tell you that. I'm sure he's told you guys that. He doesn't like to run. But you can't go play 2-man against him on third down either, because he'll take off and do what he did there, and thought that was a good slide. I know they were working on the slides in the Hard Knocks episode with the slip and slide deal. But no, it's just good awareness by him, letting the play pan out a little bit, and then obviously seeing the cease part and taking the first down, and just going back to that screen pass. We were watching it, and what was so crazy about it is, I don't know if people realize how hard it is to throw a spiral with touch from 2 yards away. Like, go try that in your backyard. That's not easy to do. And the way he was able to just like flick his wrist around the defender and lay it in perfectly to DeAndre was pretty special. Really cool to watch.
Yeah, because that was the other thing. Like, you got to still put that ball in the right spot so you can catch and run without slowing down.
Yeah, and he wasn't flustered by the rush. I mean, obviously the line's going to let some guys go because it's a screen, and they got to get out to block in front for DeAndre. But just the poise in the pocket was really cool to see, and seemed he had a good comfort level throughout the whole 2 series that he had.
Well, take me through the the throw to you downfield, because it looked like he had the flat open too, and he's like, no, that's not good enough.
Big play hunting. Play hunting. Yeah. No, I mean, just a normal naked boot movement pass. I mean, we keeping it pretty vanilla throughout the preseason, and these are concepts you'll see teams all across the league run. So, but we were running the ball well early to start the game. You get the good backer flow with the play fake. He does a good job coming out of it, sprinting out of it. I didn't realize he did the pump fake until I watched the film, but that pump fake was pretty sweet to kind of just pause that defensive end a little bit so he could get around him. And then, man, did he rip that throw. So I knew I was coming open on it. I was running away from the backer, and then that safety was coming down to kind of match me and try and break up the route. But man, what a great throw. And I think those are the things that, people are really excited to see from him.
Yeah, there was a number of little things like that really stood out. I know we got to keep things in perspective. It is the preseason.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about that in a second too. Did you thank him though for the throwaway later in the game? Because otherwise, like, there was a perfect game going there for a second, and and you and the guests on today's show
would have ruined it. Yeah. No, for sure. We'll just attribute that to the preseason kinks. So we're just working out some stuff there. We can't have that happen. But no, the throwaway I thought was good too. I think that's just a communication thing between him and Rome and some of the receivers that we're still working on throughout practice, and that's why I think when you see. Even on 7-on-7, when he breaks the pocket, those are good times to work those type of things. And, sure, 7-on-7, breaking the pocket, you would probably count that as a loss and a win for the defense, but it's still good to work those scramble drill rules and just more good reps for us to have, before we get to the season here.
So, I mean, how did you guys look at the, keeping it in a perspective that's preseason game? You mentioned off the top, like, okay, there was a lot of good in there, but they did end in 2 field goals.
Sure.
And watching the tape, it looked like, whether it's your drop, DJ's play was a little bit tougher, but we'll ask him about that coming up here. And then the throwaway was still a situation where, and Caleb even said after the game, where it's I think if Rome goes to the back pylon instead of the front pylon, that probably is a touchdown.
Right.
And there's probably a couple runs in there too, where maybe if the backs keep their feet up a little bit, they could have been bigger plays.
Sure.
I think it's cool that you guys can come out of that saying a lot of good things, but also probably should have been 2 touchdown drives is probably how to look at it.
Yeah, no, there's a couple plays in there that we look at, and we knew if we just made one more block or finished a little bit more that we're walking in the end zone. So those are things we clean up. But I think this is something you can feel good about going into this week with Cincinnati and with the joint practice we have, and then playing in the game, I think it's Saturday. I don't know if it's Sunday yet. It's Saturday. I'm losing track of the days here.
No one knows.
No
one knows what day it is.
No, today's Monday, I guess. This is what they were saying. But losing track of days here. But these are all good things that I think we saw on tape, and it doesn't feel like we have to. We're climbing up as uphill as maybe we should be at this point with a new offense coordinator and a new quarterback, especially a rookie quarterback. So I think guys like where we're at right now, but we really got to turn up the urgency here this week. This will be a big week of prep for us in terms of getting ready for week 1.
How do you guys balance? Because Flus, that sounds like Flus's message.
Yep, yeah, that's Flus all that. Yeah,
he's like, this is a big week.
Yeah.
This is a big day. I asked him that question last week in a press conference, like, why is this a big week? And he was like, because it's now.
So he's relaying that info well then to the players. No, if I'm reiterating that, that's good. Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
But at the same time, you were up there checking your watch, trying to figure out what day it was because it feels like. But in all seriousness, like how do you kind of balance that grind that becomes training camp, especially about where we're at in this point, with understanding that the coaches are probably still going to be on you guys about the urgency to get ready for the season.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a balance, and I think what's been great about Coach is he's been really receptive to the leaders and in terms of talking us through the schedule and taking our input, because at the end of the day, the partnership we have between the players and the coaches, we all want the same thing, and that's to go win a Super Bowl. So as long as we both all have that in mind when we're talking to one another about the schedule, about what we're doing at practice here, what we're doing in a preseason game there, I think you can have those really good, healthy conversations in terms of as to how we're feeling body wise and how the grind of camp's going. And us reporting early, like I know we were joking about it, like it's only August 2nd, but it's a lot of football. It's a lot of football, and that's a lot of wear and tear in your body. And sure, I think it's helped us get ahead, especially with all the newness that we have on the offense. But there's also a wear and tear element to that as well, and we got to be cognizant of that. So I think Coach has done just a great job of listening to us, the players, when we're not feeling great on things. But he's also, he has to do his job in terms of, hey, you got to go through the grind of camp a little bit and build that callus up so that you're ready to go when it comes week 1.
Yeah, well, I guess if there was a year that's good to have to report to camp a year early, this probably was a good year with the rookie quarterback and all the new pieces, the new offense. Maybe the defensive guys don't feel the same way.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, what's funny is I obviously scripted to play about a quarter this past game, and we won the toss. So obviously we were going to take the ball to get the offense on the field right away, and that way you're able to maybe steal another series there at the end of the first quarter. Those defensive guys, they got the end of the first quarter hit, and I'm like, are they going to take them out? And they were in the middle of the drive, and sure enough, it was an 18-play drive after a 3 and out. So those guys were freaking pissed, and of course, it's like,
well, they're probably looking over.
The yeah,
they're like, Josh Allen came out, because they pulled Josh Allen right away at the quarter.
I think they were waiting to get out, but I mean, it's funny when those guys come off the field. I mean, just when we hear from DJ here soon, when you're playing, and you get into that mode, you're having fun with it at the end of the day, and you kind of forget once you're in the moment of playing in a game, whether it's preseason or not. You're just having fun out there, and I think those guys were, your competitive juices start to flow. So there's definitely that aspect to it as well.
All right. Well, I know people probably want to hear you talking to your teammate DJ Moore, and he's out there running around like it's the Super Bowl in Buffalo the other day, trucking guys and stuff. So we definitely got to hear from that. So I think now is the time that we bring in DJ Moore to this conversation. Let you guys go back and forth a little bit.
Well, DJ, thanks for coming on. You got all your props with you. You're going to be you're the first guest, like I told you the other day. So clap it up for DJ. There we go. First guest on the 85. So getting right into it, man. Congrats on the new deal. Gets it done 2 years early, which is pretty impressive. And, for you to get that done, I'm sure you had to have some want and drive to be here in the long term. So, what were some of the things that, drove you back to come to Chicago for the long term and for the foreseeable future?
Just going off of last year, we won 7 games. We should have won more. So I was just like, all right, I could see myself being here. And then we got Caleb and all the other people that we got. You was here, very close friends. So I was like, I can't leave Cole behind. So, and just tacking on the years just to be here to see how far this thing goes. Hope it goes far because I'm here for another 6 years. So we got it done. Told you we was gonna get it done, and
you did tell me that. I had a few doubts, but I'm glad it worked out for you. Glad it got done. Obviously, like with all the guys we added between Keenan, Rome, Gerald, some guys along the offensive front, obviously some guys on defense as well. How have you felt about the outlook of the team so far through camp and through preseason game one?
Shoot, the camaraderie is great. This is probably like the most connected I ever been to an offense thus far. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think we've had a lot of good swag on the sideline. At least I've been feeling that. So it's been cool to have all the personalities that we got, guys that like coming to work every day. So it's been a lot of fun. It was also fun. I was talking with Adam before this, but everyone wants to know why you're out here trucking dudes, staying up in a preseason game. So what's the deal with that?
I don't know. It was just instincts. I'm out there playing the game. Shoot, we was out there. We really didn't want to be out there, but we got out there. It started being fun. Once you start going, it's just like it ain't even preseason for real. So I should have known to just run out of bounds, but I didn't, and I don't care that I did.
It's just not in your DNA. It was funny. I was talking to my dad that night too, and he was asking about that, and I'm like, well, look, when you're out there playing, you're not thinking about all that other stuff like, oh, it's a preseason game and I should save myself on this. Like once you get that sweat going and you're out on the field, you're not thinking about that and you're playing how you always play. So
you locked in.
Yeah, you're playing. Like whether it's preseason, regular season, a playoff game, like you're playing the game. And if you play any less than that, you're gonna risk yourself getting hurt. So you might as well be the hammer, not the nail. You know what I mean? So that's how you are always. So but we also got to talk about you and I had a couple drops. Would you clarify yours as a drop? I had to clarify mine. Obviously, it was a drop. Was yours a drop?
Yeah, I clarify mine as a drop. 10 out of 10 times I catch that. I should have just kept it through the ground, but that turf was hard, so I was just like, man, it is what it is right now.
How about Caleb? That was pretty good for the first time out there.
Boy, he was out there throwing no looks, throwing dimes on the run. I was happy for him. He was out there comfortable. I just can't wait to see him going in regular season.
Yeah, no, me too. It was funny. I guess he was telling guys that he wasn't nervous before the game, but I don't know if you looked over at him before we went out there. He seemed like he was a little bit nervous.
No, I seen him studying that call sheet, so I don't know if it was nervous or he was locked in or little of both, but shoot, whatever get him going, we need that all year.
Oh, absolutely. It was funny, like, you see him how he is in practice, and obviously we're repping so much stuff, but to see him in a game mode and his eyes light up when he gets in the huddle and the way he like commanded the huddle, I thought it was really good. I think the best he's done really throughout all of training camp. And then, the cadence was good. I thought operation was smooth. The no look to Swift, the throw to you on third down was great. I mean, that was awesome to see him kind of go through those progressions, but from Keenan working back to you, stepping up the pocket, making the throw, and you making the catch, and then obviously the rollout and throw he had to me was pretty crazy. So, definitely excited to see where he can go and see where this goes. But yeah, man, look, I appreciate you coming on. I think Adam here's got a few questions for you, if you don't mind, before we let you go.
Yeah, DJ, I gotta ask you. First of all, did you see how your contract extension was depicted on Hard Knocks?
I did see it.
A
lot of people were saying that I was just cool, calm, and collected. Yeah, that's just how I was. When I got back outside is when all the fun stuff started happening. Like everybody didn't know that I had signed. Maybe like 3 people knew at the time, and that was Dre Swift, Mercedes, and Cole. So when I came back outside, they knew what happened. Everybody else didn't. I just played it off like, oh, I got in trouble, because it felt like I got in trouble because me and Keenan, just goofing around before we have to do the walkthrough, like playing games and stuff. So Pose was at the window, and then I got the call. I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. Because I think I did a flip beforehand, if I'm not mistaken, that they didn't put on Hard Knocks. So I think I got in trouble. I was thinking I got in trouble.
Well,
calling you
I
out.
hope they didn't edit that out because that should have been left in. That would have made it even more badass. Because I just thought the whole thing, DJ, the way they put it on Hard Knocks was like the coolest contract extension I've ever seen. Because it's just like you got polls like basically calling down to the field, hey, you mind if we can get DJ just to come up here real quick? And then you sneak up there, couple bro hugs, sign the contract, and you're out there before walkthrough's even over. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was the best part about it, that I got to sneak off. I know some people was like, where'd DJ go? But knowing me, I could have went anywhere, and like people would have been like, oh, he just joking around. But at that time, it was like a serious moment, a serious cool moment. Like I knew it was happening. My agent was there for a few hours, so I knew something was going to get done that day, and that's what got done.
You know, I don't know if I ever told you this, but I used to be Northwestern sideline reporter, and I was at your game in 2017 against Northwestern when I can almost remember, I don't know if I have the exact numbers off the top of my head, but I still remember it. It was at least 10 catches, over 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and I was breaking a lot of tackles that game.
Yes, you were. I mean,
he remembers that exactly. Yeah.
I just think it's cool because, like, you know, being a Bears reporter at the same time too, the Bears happened to be playing in Baltimore that same weekend. It was kind of a weird coincidence. So I remember like the game's over and I'm heading up to Baltimore to cover the Bears game the next day, and I'm just thinking, man, the Bears need a wide receiver like this guy. And obviously you don't get drafted by the Bears, but you end up here a few years later. Now you got the contract extension. It's kind of cool full circle thing, even just for me having seen that game of yours in college. How much do you remember from that game? Do you like, I knowing you're probably like the first thing you're going to say is, oh, we lost that game. But I mean, how much do you think that performance that day helped solidify some of your draft stock going into, you know, your NFL career?
I think that game helped a lot because I had to beat man and zone, and I think I was doing that both that day. And I just had a good day. But we did lose, so it really didn't matter until the tape came on. And I think that draft class, y'all took Ant Miller as a receiver, didn't you? I think so. Oh, that's my guy.
That is.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Was he drafted before or after you? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Well, I went first receiver off the board.
I was gonna give the Bears crap for screwing that up, but you
can't believe you disrespected him like that.
I know.
Right, that was crazy.
That was bad. That was a bad job by me.
Funny.
It's funny, all the draft work we put into it, and it's like the second the draft is over, I forget so many things. But no, it is cool to having you. You know, obviously with the contract extension, DJ, and you've been awesome to cover. So, and thanks for being Cole's first guest too.
Yeah, bro, I appreciate you. Hey, you're the man.
Whenever Cole calls, you know, I come running. It's important.
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you.
No problem.
The 85 is powered by Ankin Law. Howard Ankin is a third-generation lawyer in Chicago and has built one of the largest injury firms in the state. Howard Ankin is a member of the Illinois State Bar Association, the Illinois Trial Lawyers Association, the American Association for Justice in Washington, and president of the UIC Law Alumni Association. Ankin Law has over 90 attorneys and staff, is based in Chicago with offices in Rosemont, Schaumburg, and Orland Park. The leading filer of workers' compensation and personal injury cases in Illinois. But they also handle auto, truck, and rideshare accidents, slip and fall, premises liability, workers' comp, medical malpractice, social security disability, and wrongful death cases. When it comes to our commercials, the Ankin Law brand has been aligned with Chicago sports for over a decade. We especially like to associate ourselves with Chicago athletes long associated with Chicago or from Chicagoland, such as Io DeSumo, Nicky Lopez, Chris Chelios, and now, of course, Cole Kmet. With an intake department of 16 people, including 2 attorneys, Ankin Law takes the time to listen to the people who contact us. Even if we don't sign the case, we try to steer the people who contact us in the right direction to help get the help they need. After all, Ankin Law is injury law made personal. They're here to help. Visit ankinlaw.com to learn more. And also, we got to thank our friends at Circa Sportsbook. Tight money line splits, the low hold model. You know that's what Circa's all about. Games that strive to be minus 110 on the Circa Sports menu, unlike other sportsbook, which may use minus 115 or minus 120 splits. What does that all mean? That means they're taking less of your money off the top. Circa has high app limits. They are transparent. They encourage bettors to download and explore all sports betting apps that are available so you can compare the lines for yourself, and you will find that Circa has the best menu. They also have top-notch customer service. Real people behind the Circa Sports brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion, unlike other books who use chatbots. And all aspects of the app are being run by the same team that runs the outstanding Circa Sportsbook and Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. So download the Circa Sports Illinois app. You go to circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. They're with us for all Cubs Friday 120 clubs. If you or somebody you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. Text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyoureallywinning.com.
Well, thanks for DJ for coming on. I don't know if we'll be coming back after Adam totally disrespected his draft status there.
It's weird that he's the first wide receiver drafted that year.
I didn't know that either. Especially, I mean, what 20? He said what
24th.
That's pretty late for a receiver, right? Yeah. For a first round receiver. So
I mean, it was a dumb question by me because I do know that Anthony Miller was a second round pick. So yeah.
Well, that'll just fuel his fire this week. So maybe if he has a big game, maybe you can take credit for it.
I will take credit, and hopefully he's not trucking dudes again though in the preseason.
Hey, I'm all for it. I like seeing it. Just as long as he stays healthy, that's all that matters.
It was actually. I wanted to ask you about that for real though, because you guys were talking about, once the game starts, you just got to play the game a certain way, no matter
absolutely.
What game it is. But were you guys also feeding a little bit off of what Caleb was doing at quarterback, and all of a sudden you felt the momentum going there? Because that's what it seemed like watching even just on TV.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I'm a believer that everything goes through the quarterback, and just in your team as a whole. I think that if your quarterback's got that juice and it's got that swagger and is playing like that, it affects everybody else. So, when you see him make that first throw on third down to DJ, you're like, oh, okay, this is like, we got something here. And then, obviously the dump off to Swift and then the throw to me along the sideline and the scramble he made on that third down. So, yeah, I mean, when you get the quarterback doing stuff like that, it definitely gets the juices flowing and guys are excited to be out there.
All right. Well, this week attention turns to the Bengals, and we will hit on that. But I think, Cole, people really want to hear about Hard Knocks.
Yeah,
I'm sure. The debut.
Yeah, Hard Knocks was cool. I wouldn't say I sat down and watched it fully. I did watch the clips that I was at the beginning. Was glad to plug the CHGO shirt in there. That was cool to see. And then obviously the first pitch. That was actually my first time doing the first pitch for the Cubs, which I think was a little overdue for myself, but we got it done. Yeah, we got it done. It was a lot of fun, and I was so hesitant to do it before because of the expectations of, well, you pitched in college, and I can't duff the pitch if I go out there. So, obviously now the first one's the on HBO with Hard Knocks, but it was cool. They did a great job of shooting it. What they did, we showed up to Wrigley that day. I had my family there. My fiance was there. Whole crew following us around, which was really cool and a little invasive at times, but it was still pretty sweet. They mic'd up my fiance. They mic'd up my brother Casey, and did the first pitch action, all that stuff. They got some really cool footage from that, and then we went up to a suite for a little bit, watched the game for a couple innings, and then ended up heading back up towards Lake Forest to get some rest before the next practice day. But the Hard Knocks has been cool. I think I know there was some hesitancy about it, going into it, and what it was really going to be like, and how was it going to be a distraction in the locker room. I think so far it's been pretty good, and you noticed them the first week it was pretty noticeable, and if you told me that they hadn't been there for the past week, I wouldn't say you were wrong. So they've done a good job of blending in, getting the content they've needed, and I think from a player's perspective, it's cool to to have this, just because it's something that you can look back on, when your career's over and kind of say that you were part of, and that was documented. And, I know it's something that I'll be looking forward to showing, my kids one day once I'm done playing football.
So the amount that gets shot, I'm fascinated by, because there's so much footage.
So much, yeah.
And I kind of heard, even from what you just described, all the work they put into what turned out to be 30 seconds on the show of you throwing out the first pitch.
Yeah.
And they followed you all day. It's so much work. I've heard there's up to 60 people working on it.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. I think maybe the number, and it might be more than this, but I think the first day they said they'll capture a little over 400 hours of film, and they obviously got to cut all that down, and they're the odds that we get what you said one day here at practice is probably not going to show up, and obviously there's the cuts and editing that they have to go through to get all that done. But these people, they're impressive with how they set everything up. We got our team meeting room. There's many microphones surrounded the whole team meeting area, and cameras all around. Luckily enough, the tight end room does not have a camera or microphone in it, so we're still pretty loose with what we can say in there. But I'm sure the quarterback room's all mic'd up, and the defensive meeting room's all mic'd up, and all those things. So, but they've done a really good job, and it was cool to see episode 1. I thought it was pretty sweet. I thought the intro for Caleb was really cool. That Bulls intro was really sweet. I was getting texts about that, chill. Oh, I just got chills watching that, and it was pretty cool.
Well, I did want to give Hard Knocks credit for that, because I thought the intro and the Chicago elements, you and I both grew up here. That was cool. That was nostalgic.
Yeah.
And it was different too.
It shows Chicago in a good light. I know there's a lot of the crime or this or that, it's a dangerous city, but it's a really beautiful city when especially in the summertime here, and it was cool to see them kind of highlight that type of stuff.
Yeah, especially the river downtown.
Yeah,
my wife and I spent a day out on the river I don't know, it's a month or so ago, but it was actually one of the hottest days we've had this summer too. It was quote unquote an uncomfortable day.
Yeah,
everything was packed.
No, okay, wait,
people everywhere.
I was on they did the boat for the intro. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Was Greg on the railing?
Did you see him?
I thought I did, and I'm he's past this, right? He's now on the media thing. He's not
past this.
So that was him.
Oh, he was
up on the thing.
It was him, and I think he may have infiltrated it too. I'm not sure he was supposed to be.
So how did the word get out about that, and who could show up to that?
I don't know all the details. I think you had. Through
we'll
social media channels of the people who live their entire lives on the internet.
I was Greg, is that fucking Greg here? What is he doing here? This is nuts.
I think it was for season ticket holders. Some of them got contacted about
going to that.
Yeah.
Okay, that was cool. I just was not expecting that to see him there.
He sent me several grainy photos showing that he was on there.
Yeah. Nice. I love it. I love it.
He is gonna love that you actually saw him. That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, we also got to talk about the Canadian Eagle.
Oh yeah, how great was that?
That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was great. I think that's I don't want to call it hazing. The go up and sing a song. I think that's a really great and everyone really buys into it really well. So mine was I did "Don't Stop Believin'" as my song in front of everybody, and that was during COVID. I remember Khalil Mack called me out to do it, and it's a fun deal. It's you gotta have to do it and get up in front of the team and do all that stuff. But man, did Theo crush it! That was great.
So is that
great?
You guys do that at one time on one evening, or is it at random points in training camp where somebody gets called up?
So every team meeting, which is at the end of the day, I think that team meeting is around 5:00. We'll start clapping it up. A slow clap starts right at 5:00.
Oh, okay.
And we've been going in draft order. So obviously Caleb was first. You have to give name, school, signing bonus, and then you get into your song. And it's all about, as Coach Flus will say, passion and preparation are the two things you need. And you just got to go up there and just let it loose. You can't worry about how you look or how you sound. None of us are good singers for the most part, and you just got to kind of go with the flow on it. But
okay, well then
Theo's was great.
What was the reaction then when Caleb kind of bombed?
Oh, he's getting shit thrown at him. Yeah, it was terrible. And you know what? He kept hyping up how prepared he was for that, and he just botched it.
He didn't finish.
And that's his. That's like his go-to song. Like he listens to that song all the time. There was no excuse there for what happened. He ended up, we had him go again, which I don't think Hard Knocks showed. We had him go again, and he did it the following day, and he did much better.
Same song?
No, different song.
Okay.
He had to do a different song. I forget what he did, but it was much better. It was not the best. The Theo's was the best so far, I think. But no, he did much better the second time around. But you know, there's something to it when you can go up there and crank it out right away. So. All
right. Well, I think that's breaking news, and people will probably be happy to hear that Caleb did much better the second.
Yeah, he had to go a second time. Yeah, you can't say that type of signing bonus and not get through one song.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah,
that's the accountability you guys need in that locker room.
Yeah,
because you don't just get away with that. And I thought we had Tyson Bagent here at CHGO last week, and I think he was having a seizure or a heart attack or something when he heard the signing bonus.
That was hilarious. Yeah, I saw that clip. That was pretty funny.
And then I do have to say Theo, although the best part about Theo's Canadian Eagle thing, shout out to Karan Amagaji with the symbols.
That's what that made
background.
it. Those little details are what make it. No, that was good. It's funny. Leo too. I mean, obviously Canadian. We do these things at the end of team meetings for the first week of camp, like player programming stuff, and one of them was getting out to vote, registering to vote, and we did like a little. I don't know if anyone knows what a Kahoot is, but you kind of log on and they quiz you, and everyone logs in their name, and it's a competition board, and it's all like U.S. Constitution questions, and in first place was Theo as the Canadian, and we just thought that was funny. Like, of course, the Canadian knows all the U.S. Constitution stuff and things that no one else knew that are all from here.
I mean, he seems to be proud to be in America.
As
was shown in the scene.
As was shown.
That was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
All right. Well, look, as we continue to do this show together, there's probably not going to be anything from an athletic achievement standpoint that I'll ever be able to top you on. But I do have to show you one thing, because your first pitch was pretty solid. I think it was solid, technically a ball, though, on the outside.
I tell everybody it was 0-2. It was an 0-2 pitch. So, like, I'm not throwing anything in the zone 0-2. I started it a little bit outside, and it did cut a little bit to the left. But, my pitching coach, Chuck Restano back at ND, shout out to Chuck, would be proud of that 0-2 pitch. It was not hittable. I could get a righty to chase that. I'll take it. And I hummed it in there. Pretty good.
Well, the only thing I can pretty much take credit for in my athletic life is probably this, throwing out a first pitch at a White Sox game a few years ago.
Was there anybody there?
No, of course not. Good line, though. But look at this.
Oh, that's nice.
That's Lucas Giolino's glove, and it barely moved.
You went from the rubber?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Look, I'm all the way up.
Oh, you did a full windup.
Went the full windup. You probably threw yours a little bit harder than me. I was just...
That's pretty good.
Ricky Renteria was the White Sox manager at this time, and right before I went out there, he just said, "Don't bounce it in."
Yeah, that's all I was worried about. That's nice.
So I was pretty nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
I was too. That was nice. That's a nice windup you got
strike.
We went, did you play in high school?
Yeah. I didn't pitch though. I didn't have enough arm strength.
Okay, what'd you play?
Mostly second base. Same thing. Arm strength was an issue. I would go over to third sometimes, but mostly infield. Shortstop was a little bit too.
I got you.
Once, like at the varsity level, it was not going to happen.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Wasn't hitting bombs at Wrigley, though, like you.
Utility guy. Everyone needs the utility guy. Yeah.
Scrappy, years later can go onto a major league mound and throw a strike.
Yeah, that's good enough.
And then I retired. That was it right there.
Throwing a strike on a major league mound is way better than the average person. Yeah. More than the average person could do.
I mean, were you nervous throwing out yours?
I was. No,
yeah, it's like, because you don't want. It's just one of those things you do not want to screw it up.
No, and then of course my brother's like, "Yeah, don't 50 Cent this." And if you've seen the video of 50 Cent doing it,
yeah,
I'm like, holy, my palms are getting all sweaty before going up, and I'm like, I never got this nervous pitching. And I've played at LSU with 12,000 people packed, and I've no issue. But I guess the one pitch to the Cubs mascot just had me drowning in sweat right before.
That had to be weird too. You're throwing a Clark the Cub who doesn't wear pants even.
Right. Yeah, that is kind of. Don't you think that's weird?
I do. I think it's messed up.
A little bit. Yeah, it is a little messed up. Yeah.
I at least had a major league pitcher catching mine.
So, yeah. Well, that's what I was also, because if you know, like, I mean, as you know, like if you're playing at second base or even at short, like guiding the ball is never a good scenario.
Right.
Never happen. You got to throw it through the chest, you know, to hit your target. So I was like, can I throw this thing or do I have to like lob this in there because it's the mascot? They're like, oh no, you can rip it in there. I'm like, all right, thank God. Because if I had to like guide it in there, who knows where it would have went. You know, then you come up short or you're throwing it over his head and all those type of things. But no, I was able to rip one in there.
It's got that giant glove too, so big target.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, Hard Knocks really hasn't been a distraction. Something you get used to.
Yeah, I don't think so at all. I mean, I'm sure some coaches are a little more have had to keep their mouth shut about some things here and there just because they don't want to sound too outrageous here and there on meetings. But no, I think for the most part, it hasn't really been too much of a distraction at all. And you know, guys have handled it really well. We've been going to work every day doing our thing, and I think they just do it. To give them credit, they do a really good job of staying out of the way, and you don't even notice that they're there at times. I mean, I was talking to Mercedes at a walkthrough, I think with Keenan as well the other day, and you know, I turned around and get a water, and there's the whole setup's right behind us. And
I was wondering if you noticed the
it.
boom mics.
You don't even notice, like they're really good at not. You don't even notice it. So like we're having a full on conversation. I'm sure they got the whole thing, and obviously a really candid conversation that they get. And we don't even notice that they're there. So they do a good job with it. They do a good job with it.
Well, episode 2 of the 5 episodes will be coming out Tuesday night. And looking forward to seeing what's on that.
Yeah.
You guys are pretty much in the dark on what – I mean, you obviously knew they followed you to Wrigley. But
yeah, I mean, obviously I was pretty confident I was going to show up on the Wrigley stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we're in the dark on it. Yeah, we have no idea what's going to show up on it, who they're going to highlight. But it's cool. I mean, when I grew up watching Hard Knocks, I thought it was always cool to watch the guys that, you know, may or may not be on the bubble and guys who are really fighting to make the team and then have a big game. Like you saw like Colin, who had a really great game. Brett at quarterback had a great game. And when they kind of highlight those guys and kind of get their name out like that, I think those are the cool stories and things to follow along during the training camp.
Did you guys feel bad for Austin Reed that the weather came in?
I did. Yeah. He is hilarious and he's been great. But no, I felt bad for him. I mean, we were talking on the episode. It shows that me and him talking about the rain that's going to be coming in. It was just too bad. You know, that's where you feel bad in those scenarios. Like you get delayed, and I was like, well, I hope we're not here for another 2 hours just to finish this game. But then you're like, you know, you want the guys that you know haven't got an opportunity to go out there to play yet to show what they got. So you know, you feel bad for them in that scenario. And it was good to see Austin get back out there the other day, and I thought he did a really good job. But yeah, it always sucks to see the things get cut short for the reps for those guys.
Yeah, and they were showing his family in the episode and everything.
Yeah.
Too, so, But yeah, he did get out there in Buffalo, which was good to see.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's kind of set the stage for this week.
Yeah.
Obviously, Hard Knocks. Quick shout out to our CHGO Sports channel as well, because we will be recapping whatever happens on Hard Knocks as soon as it's over there on CHGO Bears After Dark. So make sure you're subscribed over there as well. But the other big thing that everybody's excited about this week is the Bengals coming to town, not only for the game, but for a joint practice on Thursday, which will be interesting.
Yeah, so joint practice Thursday, those are usually really intense, and you get a lot of good work in those practices. We're only doing one this year. I think from what you've seen around the league, usually that second practice warrants a lot of fights, and so I think it's a good thing that we're only doing one this year. And you know, I think some of us are slated to play on Saturday. We'll kind of wait to see what coach says about that. But yeah, those joint practices are fun. Kind of get to get new fresh reps on some guys across the league. And you know, I'm not going against Kevin Byard now every single day in one-on-ones or whatever it might be. And it's good to see some other talent out there and go against those guys. So joint practices are fun for the fans, I think too. I think it's a good way to engage with the team coming in. And so yeah, it should be a lot of fun, and then we'll get to Saturday and see how we roll there.
So yeah, I was wondering why there's only one.
Yeah,
it makes sense because I've covered probably 4 or 5 of these now that happen, and it always seems like the second day is just
I mean, especially like, I mean, you know, the fight, the times when the fights are most likely to break out are during those special teams periods when you get the one-on-one, the vice reps where you got, you know, 2 guys against
last
the gunner.
year in Indy, those were insane.
Gosh. Those are the best to watch. And we always they always want us doing stuff if you're not on teams, you know, work a hands drill here or there, like while we're doing teams work. we're always like, can we go watch the Vice one-on-ones?
Well, I remember last year you guys were all like watching it.
You want to watch
both
those.
teams' sidelines were getting really into it.
Because you got guys that I mean, those are, you do well in those reps. I mean, you have a good chance of making the squad based on how you look at in those periods. And so those guys are going all out, and they're finishing you through the sideline, and you get some good reps over there, and those are fun to watch. But that's usually where a lot of the fights break out after a guy dumps a dude, after being out of bounds for 2 or 3 yards. But those are fun to watch. Those are definitely fun to watch.
Our joint practices, I mean, you kind of hit on it. You guys look forward to that? You bring a little extra juice on
Yeah, you look forward to it. I mean, there's like when you get to it, you're excited about it. The day that it actually happens. I think everyone kind of knows what you're in store for when you get to a joint practice. I think having it only one day, though, really helps the situation, just because you do kind of walk into that second day, with the eyes in the back of your head, kind of making sure you're looking out for one another, just because of what might have happened the day before and what was put on tape the day before. So I think it's good that we're doing it, for the one day, and you get a lot of good reps in, a lot of good work in, and in a controlled setting where the coaches are quick to the whistle and those type of things. So yeah, a lot of good work, but definitely happy we're not doing it for 2 days.
Yeah. Well, then that'll hopefully it doesn't carry over into the game on Saturday.
Right.
But
exactly.
at least that's a game setting. It's a little bit different.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
I like that, because I thought I'd rather have it this way than last year where you guys did 2 practices and then it didn't play in the game. I mean, I don't know which one you would prefer, but
yeah. I don't know.
Well, my biggest thing about not playing in the game last year was that it left the last game where I think starters did play. I know Justin did. But if you think about the time period, it kind of left the starters with somewhere around like 10 reps over a course of a month leading into the first actual game.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
No,
it was just like a huge layoff of
Now,
time.
what was that did we play them on Thursday, or was it a regular weekend game, the Colts?
That was a weekend game.
Oh, okay.
And then you
All
had the Thursday game following, which is the last preseason game.
Right.
Which you guys did play.
Yeah.
The starters did play in that, at least for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, it just was like over the course of 30 days, you guys had like 10 live reps.
10 live reps,
which I don't know how much that matters for a veteran like you has been around, but for a quarterback developing or things like that, it didn't seem like enough.
Yeah, I think it's like person to person, person by person basis. Like you talk to Mercedes Lewis, I don't think he needs preseason reps.
I was surprised Keenan Allen played the other day.
I was too. Yeah, I feel like Keenan's in what, year 12 or 13?
13,
yeah.
And I don't think.
That's a lot of football.
Someone had told me that he hadn't played a preseason rep in 4 years.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that come. But I think what guys though had to be open to and understand is the situation we're in with a new offense, new rookie, a rookie quarterback, and you're not going to put out the Caleb out there with guys with no one around him. You want to make sure that we get the full unit out there, and so that he feels confident in his prep and all that stuff. So there was some understanding that had to go on there between us and the coaches and the play, like working together with all that stuff. And obviously it turned out well the other day, but I think it's important to get the reps in the preseason to an extent. I think depending where you're at as a team, look, we might 5 years from now and things are cranking well. We have offense looks good, defense is looking good, and you have a lot of guys that have played a lot of ball. Yeah, sure, maybe you don't have to play in the preseason, but at this point in time with where we're at, as an organization, with how young we are, especially in the key positions, it's important to get guys out there to get those reps before the season begins.
Well, it should be fun this week against the Bengals. This is your show, and one of the things we're going to play around with, which is actually you asking me a question or two.
Yeah.
If you have any.
Yeah. So like we're just flipping the script here instead of okay.
I love it.
So as players, at times we're always going, "Oh, these guys have no idea what they're talking about." How many guys, when we walk in the press conference room, if I were to say, "Hey, I need each one of you to take a sheet of paper and draw up cover 2 or cover 3," could successfully draw up a cover 2 or cover 3 defense?
Wow, put me on the spot here. 3?
And who are the 3 that you think that could do it?
Because I gotta be,
you don't.
I gotta be honest. Even myself, like if you're asking me to do all 11 jobs on the play, I'm not sure I'd get everything correct.
Sure,
I mean, obviously the basic
the basic framework.
And
of
this
it
is
you could get.
Chicago, so I think people are very familiar with what Lovie Smith and Tampa do and everything.
So that's a fair. So cover 2 would be a fair question to ask. That'd be fair.
Yeah. I mean, I would say I'll give them a little bit credit. I think specifically on that one, most people in that room do understand what a cover 2 defense is. Could they all draw it up? That's where I'm like, man, I don't want to start. Now I sound like a coach. I don't want to start singling people out. Like Herb Howard could probably do it.
Okay.
I give him that. Our guy Nicholas Moriano.
Really? Nick could do it?
I think Nick can do it. He played high school football.
And then do you think they know techniques? You know, like 4-eye, a 6-eye, a 7 technique, a 9 technique. Like if I said that I said, hey, I had a 9 technique on this play and I had to set out to the 9 technique, would most of the room know what I'm saying when I say a 9 technique?
I would say about 50% of the room would. I actually think more would understand that than coverages. And maybe I'm basing that more off myself because coverages are probably the last thing I started like really trying to dive into to understand. And even then, once you start to get into like more complex stuff, I actually have like a glossary I have at home that I like literally will check different things.
Well, it's fun. What's funny about like when I was learning, I mean, because in college you're just kind of told what to do and you just do it, and then in the NFL you got to learn like, okay, what is this guy's job on defense so you can use his job to your advantage. But as I was learning like NFL defenses, you realize like how, quite frankly, some of the stuff is like stupid. Like if you know like technique, like for an end, you got a 9 technique is just outside of you. Yeah. You can do a 6 technique, which is head up, but a 7 technique is on the inside. Yeah, who made that? And so I was wondering I don't know if this is factually true. We might have to like fact check this one, but I was told Wade Phillips's father was the one that did the numbering of the technique system.
I believe it.
And he was the one that designated that a 7 is on the inside, a 6 is head up, and then a 9's on the outside. I have no idea why.
Well, that's my first reaction too. I'm like, why do we have to have a 4-eye? Like, why can't we just count the numbers? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like,
have it easy like that.
Yeah, but
I don't know either.
You know, I just take what I learn and then just say, I'm certainly not the one to be making, naming things like that. So I'm like, all right, I guess this is what it is.
Yeah, no, it is. There's definitely some like flaws in it that you're like, oh, I wonder why, they call it this and call it that. But no, it's always interesting. I'm always interested to know how in depth, you guys are with in terms of all that stuff.
What I will say is like people in that room have different jobs. Like some are, they don't necessarily have to be like totally in depth understanding football scheme because their job is to get there and write stories on like whatever the stories are, like your story or Caleb's story or whoever's story, and they'll do some great feature stories on stuff like that without necessarily having to understand.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's others that like for me and for what I do, trying to talk on a daily basis about this, like I feel like I have to understand that stuff, or people, players like you on the team would be like, this guy's a complete idiot, which I'm sure I still get. I forgot where DJ Moore was drafted.
That's a little different.
That's a little different. Yeah, but like we said, it's going to drive him all week in practice.
Yeah, and that'll be good. That'll be good. Good for the Bears. That's good for the Bears.
It's been awesome first show, Cole. Thanks to DJ Moore for joining us.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah,
and we got a lot of great things planned. In these coming weeks, and of course, once we get into the regular season, I think people are really gonna enjoy this. And again, the 85 is powered by Ankin Law. Injury law made personal. They're here to help. Visit ankinlaw.com to learn more.
We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode.